Ooh, okay. So it looks like I'm in like 1080 HD. That's very strange. Hi, welcome to Counter with Katie. I'm going to roll the intro and then we'll be back to talk about trust and such. Sounds exciting, right? Boom! Let's do this. Woohoo! It's always exciting to me when I have like a background on and things like that. Hi, welcome to Candor with Katie. So tonight, I just realized that I didn't check in with you last week and I forgot to tell you. Those of you that are on my Facebook and whatnot, I was in Chicago and my sister was hanging out with me and that was a blast. So tonight, the topic is trust. How do we? What's the universe got to do with it? Does the universe have anything to do with it? I bet I will surprise you. Okay, so this is interesting because as per usual, I came up with this very last minute. Pammy Turnbull, hey, gotta say hi. I have new friends that are like, hey, can if we make comments or whatever, can you see them? And I'm like, yeah, I'll pull them up and we'll talk about them. So this is an interesting topic tonight, and the reason why I'm talking about it is because I tend to put a lot of trust in people, somewhat blindly. I'm working on it. It's okay to trust people without having something up front, but you've got to really pay attention to the signs along the way. And I didn't quite do that. And if you haven't been here to hear the conversation my one-sided conversation at you about what's going on with the additional guest house and all the things, my friend Torsten, I'll talk about him again in a bit, went with me today to the ROC. I do have some kind of a timeline. I will talk more about stuff as it happens, but basically, he didn't get stuff done when it was supposed to be done. So he has like a non-corrected thing, and I think the next thing is a citation, and then we'll go from there. But I was thinking about this today because and I threw the universe thing in there also because there's a lot to that. There's like mindset stuff and things you need to do, and why should we trust the universe? Because just because. I'll tell you. Okay, so let's look at this for a minute. Basically, who do you trust? So we're supposed to trust people. Now, I actually went to ChatGPT, and then some of these are partially mine too. So we're supposed to trust people or entities that have proven themselves reliable, honest, and consistent over time. Ultimately, trust is earned by actions, not just words. Should be given thoughtfully and wisely. But we do trust recommendations / words of others without knowing someone sometimes. And then kids trust their parents, their teachers, strangers, which is why we came up with stranger danger. And that's like basically when we're thinking or we don't know any better, right? So small kids, they kind of learn not to trust based on experiences, and that's adults too, right? So when we have experiences. So I'm going to talk to you about some ways to be able to trust again and to not really kick yourself in the shins over trusting someone when you shouldn't have, kind of thing. Because it just happens sometimes. And you got to find the best way to get through it. Okay. All right. So next we have, why do we trust? Well, because it fulfills a fundamental human need for connection, cooperation, and stability. We also tend to trust people when their values align with ours and when they show empathy, making us feel understood and valued. And then just basically we trust people because it feels good and we want to see the good in people. Now, there's a lot of people that would say, I'm just a jerk, an a-hole, whatever. I don't need to see the good in people. But ultimately, the majority of us do want to see the good in people. We would like to see people be a little darn nicer. I'm wondering if I can change the size of this. Okay, no, I'm just trying to mess around. By the way, I've got my camera, my whatever it's called, my StreamYard, my Streamline, my camera, and my microphone working again. So I'm thrilled about that. Okay, so how do we trust? We have to be vulnerable. At times it starts with a small act of faith. And sometimes we observe people to see how they act with others. So some people I know gauge, what they will if they'll have a relationship with someone or a friendship with someone based on how they treat servers and things like that. So even if you think someone's not watching you, they are. Okay, so just think about that. And so part of this is going to be, and I'll bring that up later, unless I forget, of course. How do you see yourself? How do you think people see you as trustworthy? If somebody was going to describe you, would that be one of your characteristics? And it might not be for me because I'm so crazy and out there and obnoxious, but hopefully. So how do we trust others? You have to start small. All right. So Pam says, we trust every day at different levels. We trust people to know how to drive and not hit us while crossing the street. Yes, that's absolutely true. But I don't trust them to be alone in my apartment with my cats. Yeah. And in a situation like that, it's okay. Now that's a really good point. If somebody's going to take care of somebody or something that you really care about, you're not just going to let any Joe Schmo do it. You're going to have a relationship with that person. So trust comes in all levels and all forms. So I'm not going to delve, it's not going to be a 4-hour thing tonight, but we're just going to talk about some of these. And Pam, that's a super good point. Thank you for bringing that up. If you have any more little nuggets of info, fabulous. Okay, I got to go here. Okay, so you start with small favors. It could be sharing minor personal details or relying on someone for small favors. Communicate openly and a lot because that helps us understand intentions. Transparency is so important. So think about a conflict you've had in the past and how communication either builds or dissolves or dissolved in the past, that relationship, and then forgive and adjust. People will make mistakes. As long as the other person is willing and trying to right a wrong, adjust and keep that relationship. So in the instance with my contractor, I blindly trusted him. I did because it was a recommendation from one of the owners of the company, and it's not his fault because he has not made him very happy either. He's done a lot of things. So this person started out doing really great work and then just, I don't know, just lost it all. So I'm not mad at him for recommending him. But what I should have done was, and I think I might talk about this in a minute, but what I should have done was communicate more effectively sooner, take care of things sooner, because it just got too far out of hand, Okay. So how do we trust ourselves? We acknowledge past successes because this can help build a self-assurance. Think, I've got this. Listen to your intuition. This is the biggest thing I'm talking about because I was feeling all kinds of anxiety and anxious about this guy who wasn't getting things done. I mean, my guest house was supposed to be done in April. And now, based on, what I found out today, it's going to take at least probably 6 months to a year. So at least I have a timeline. There's nothing I can do about that. The only thing I can do is move on, learn from it, and try and shift my focus because I have been really depressed, down in the dump. I've been crying a lot and I've been keeping to myself about it. And I guess this is my little therapy time talking about it, but it's a big deal. So listen to your intuition and practice self-compassion because you're going to make mistakes too. Don't be so hard on yourself. I was mad at myself for not saying something sooner, but you know what? It all works out like it's supposed to. And we'll talk about that in a minute too. So set and keep commitments, following through builds confidence. So if you're a person who keeps making plans and canceling, other people aren't going to trust you. I mean, it's okay to cancel, but if you're a person who does it consistently, constantly, all the time, people aren't going to trust you anymore. So learn from your mistakes. View setbacks as learning experiences, reflect and adapt. Well, that kind of makes sense, doesn't it? Okay. So what does trust the universe mean? In essence, it's about relinquishing anxiety over the unknown and trusting that everything happens for a reason or will lead to the best possible outcome, even if it isn't immediately clear. Does anybody do that? Because it's very hard to do. It is. Especially when you're in the middle of something. Like I'm in the middle of this, it's very hard to trust that this is all going to work out, that this is going to get built, that I'm going to be able to use it. I need extra space here. It's a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. It's very small. And even if if my parents weren't going to come and stay, I would need the extra space, So it's just, looking at my backyard, and I've cried so much, and I feel silly sometimes because I'm like, it's just a yard or whatever, but I take pride in that, and I spent a lot of money on the turf, and it's been torn up since February. There is absolutely no reason this shouldn't be put back together. But at the same time, I got to forgive myself for not. I mean, I've constantly said something about it since then, but like to like think back and reflect on my assertiveness, I wasn't as assertive as I should have been. So I'm learning. If I'm not learning, I'm not growing, right? So I'm not going to kick myself in the shins over it. But yeah, so here's what you do. So letting go of control. You accept that some things are beyond your influence and allowing life to happen naturally. Have faith in timing. Belief that events will occur in their own time and the right opportunities will come when you're ready for them. Believing in a greater plan. Setbacks and challenges are part of a larger, often unseen plan that will eventually lead to personal growth or a better outcome. 4, stay open to possibilities. So keep a flexible and open attitude toward life. This helps embrace the unexpected and to know that things are working out for your highest and greatest good. So Danae says, trust. Yeah, I know it's difficult. It's difficult. I'm not saying it's not, because I have a really hard time with it. So now I have issues. I haven't dated in a long time because I don't really trust guys in a relationship situation. I've just avoided it, and I know I got to work on that, but there's things to do. So it's like, okay, so with my whole situation, so this trusting in the universe thing, I just have to know it's going to work out. There's a lot of things there's a lot of good that can come out of this. So I'm definitely going to be teaching people, more about the process and I'll be able to help people with it, especially as a realtor. So Danae says, I try to remain positive, but the last few weeks have sucked. I know. This year for me, Danae, it's been hard. And then she says, LOL ditto. It's really nice to see you on here though. So it is hard. I mean, like just saying this, oh yeah, just trust the universe. It's not easy. And you are going to struggle and you're going to fight this a lot. And you're going to think about all the things. And what if I get this unreasonable anxiety all the time? I am prone to some extreme anxiety, but I just got to make the effort. Right. So I'm going to start doing this and I'm going to start sharing some stuff with you because I'm going to be doing this more. And you know what? I'm going to make the shiz happen. So I happen to have this article also, and it's from the Medium, which I love. And it's from 6 years ago. So you're going to have to deal with it. Okay. But it's got good information in it. So what does it mean to trust the universe? I'm going to just basically go through it. Humans think too much. I do. Ironically, the notion to trust the universe is an oxymoron created only by those who think too much, but want to think less. So sometimes there seems to be no explanation for the horrible things that happen in this world. But as humans, we like explanations. So, she goes on to say, I'm not saying there's no benefit or validity to the concept of going with the flow, but quite the contrary. We're constantly in a battle in our minds. Did I make the right choice? Why did this happen to me? And I've been doing this a lot. Why did this happen to me? Why am I going through this? Like, what am I supposed to do now? How am I supposed to move forward? We just are cursed with questions and the ability to feel the sting of unfulfillment and regret. Okay, so she says, we're the only creatures who have a bucket list and a perceived agenda in life. So what if I told you it doesn't matter what your plans are? And if you complete them before you die? Right? So your desires didn't pop out of thin air. She goes into the karma thing, but if the bottom line is, trusting the universe is, we must accept that there's a reason for suffering no matter how horrific. We have to accept the universe wants us to experience something because it's part of the path toward our completeness. Now, you might think this is a bunch of hooey, and that's fine if you do. Okay. Danae says, going through the valley in darkness is hard, but I do hold on to the fact that things happen for a reason, and one door opens, another flings open. It's just you have to trust. Meh. It's true, though. How many of you have a problem with trusting? Because it is a big deal. I have a problem with it. I'm dichotomous, I always say this, right? I'm really laid back, but I'm also really intense. It depends on who you meet. I trust people blindly, but I also don't trust. So it just depends, right? It's a crazy time. So Danae says, I need to get back to my manifestation for the positive. Exactly. And this is part of the reason why I'm doing this podcast tonight, Danae, because I'm working on that too. So I am going to tell you that this is all going to work out for me. This is not easy. It sucks, but there is a lesson in it, and a lot of good's going to come out of it, because A, I'm going to make that happen, but B, sometimes people need a kick in the shins to realize that they're not doing the right thing. Like, so like my whole thing with this guy is like, if I was him, this contractor, but I'm looking at it from my point of view too. So that's another thing you got to do, is like realize that not everybody's the same, right? So if I'm looking at it as me, I would just be thinking, wow, I have not been trustworthy. I have not followed through. Like, it's not been good, So Pam says, I trust few. Yep, makes sense. Danae says, sorry. Great timing, girl. Thank you. You're literally like an angel set at the right time. Oh my God, I love you. Well, thank you, because, this isn't as much for me as it is for you, right? So this is what I'm working on. So I put a little notes in here for myself, but you just need to know that you have the ability to be in control, even if everything's out of control, if that makes sense. You just have to know. And the more that you let it go, the more that it's going to happen for you. So that's what I'm going to work on. So I'm going to tell you my final thoughts, right? Not everyone will get you, and that's okay. Not everyone's going to get you, and you don't have to, and everybody doesn't have to get you. You don't have to do everything for everybody. Everybody doesn't have to like you. You don't have to like everybody. It's okay. It's really tough to trust. Just don't give up. Okay? It is very hard to trust. So, what are my notes I put here? Whatever reason. Oh yeah, you take a look at yourself. That's what I was talking about. Take a look at yourself. And are you being trustworthy or untrustworthy? Like, do you have that ability? Do you have that capability to look at yourself and decide those things? So Danae says, you've got this. Thank you, Danae. Thank you. And yes, we have to get together soon. I've just been like, I seriously been in fun. I know I was in Chicago, but man, I've been kind of a introverted extrovert lately. So I looked up some other things. So here are the things. To trust the universe. Here's some quotes, okay? Oops, sorry, I'm knocking my table around. Trust the universe to bring you what you need, not always what you want. And those answers will come out later. Sid Squatch says, okay? That was by an unknown person. The universe is always conspiring to help us if we only trust its wisdom. And Ralph Waldo Emerson was a pretty badass fella. So Trisha says, it's harder to trust than love. Ooh, that's a great statement and a heart-wrenching statement. And I know that you've just gone through some stuff, and I won't share it unless you want me to while I'm still on here. But Trisha's just gone through some really hard times, and it's going to be very hard for her to trust people again. And not cool. So that's very true. Danae says, me too, been staying away from peopling. Yes, I'm pouting. LOL. Hey, you know what though? You're acknowledging it. It's okay. And you're here, and I'm here to talk to you. So that's cool, right? Couple more quotes. Trusting the universe means having faith that everything is going to work out for you, even if you don't know how. So Rhonda Byrne said that. So reach out to people and tell them you're struggling, that you're having a hard time trusting, and that you need some help. I will totally help you. I'm better at helping other people sometimes than my own self. I'll help find quotes. I will help you work through stuff. We will talk about things. We can do this together. Okay. You're not alone. I know I'm not alone. I like to isolate myself sometimes, even though I like talk to everybody. I isolate myself and just kind of hide in the corner. So this is me telling you, I'm not going to do that anymore. I'll do my best reaching out when I feel like it, when I feel like doing that. I'm going to trust the universe. No, for some people it's faith. It's religion. For some people it's just the universe. They call it, God, source, universe, whatever you're fancy. Whatever you're fancy. You've got this, okay? And it's really important, because just like what I'm going through, we trust the wrong people, but it doesn't mean that I'm wrong. It doesn't mean that you're wrong if you trust the wrong person. It doesn't mean that you're a bad person. But do take a look and see maybe what needs to change within yourself, trusting your intuition, communicating better, whatever it is, okay? And get to it. You've got this, okay? So Danae says the power of your thoughts. That's exactly true, right? So I always talk about the book, The Power of Now. And I'm going to be reading, I've got 3 of Joe Dispenza's books. So I'm going to make a commitment to read at least a half an hour in the morning. His books, and I'm going to go through them. And he's a phenomenal person in making this stuff happen, right? So we don't have to know why. We don't have to know how something is going to come about. We just have to trust that it is going to happen. And that's what I'm doing, okay? So you know what Sid Squatch says. The journey begins with you. So be good to yourself. So I did fix the camera and the mic, but I still haven't fixed the blurry background. And that's me, the Horgan. Horgan loves you. So I'll see you next week. Thanks for not kicking me in the shins for not coming on last week. But, feel free to text me if I'm not doing it. Oh, I got another quote or comment. Boop, boop. Okay. So Donnie said, oh my God, I lost it. Where are you? Sorry. Okay. I know I need to believe and say to myself, but when you're in the middle of the poo, it's hard to find that path. That's exactly right. And so the things you need to do is the best thing to do, honestly, is either, and I've got my trusty journal right here, one of them, journal and or meditate. So Abraham Hicks would say meditate, take a nap, 10 minutes, meditate, reset. I do that in my car sometimes. I'm a weirdo, I know, but I've got this and so do you, okay? So I'll see you next week, and that's it. I'll see you later.